You're listening to Sobriety Society, where the world's top specialists in the recovery field share their stories of joy, sorrow, challenges, and wins. Our conversations with industry leaders in the addiction recovery field will spark inspiration in others who want to develop their business and save more lives. Help us help you get in front of more people so we can save more lives together. These aren't just lives worth saving. These are the people and families we are fighting for. So please welcome your host, Sean Snowday.
Hello and welcome to Sobriety Society. My name is Sean Snowday. I am the founder and the voice of Sobriety Society. And today we have Dr. Aimie and Jennifer, the program director from the NAD Treatment Center. I'm so excited to have you two online with us. How you doing?
Doing well, Sean. Thank you.
All right. How you doing, Jennifer?
Doing very
awesome.
well.
You know, it's a great day to be 6 feet above the ground. I'm really happy to have you guys online here. I know you're making a powerful difference helping people in the addiction recovery industry, and I'm really excited to jump into that. But before we get into that, you know, we usually start with a little backstory about how you got into the program. Dr. Aimie has other podcasts that she's on. So Jennifer, let's learn a little bit about you. Most people had like a personal mission before they got into the addiction recovery. So do you have like a little, were you a student or did you have a loved one, or what happened? What got you into this particular field?
I actually went into treatment when I was 15 years old, but it was for more behavioral health than mental health.
Okay.
And then going through those struggles and learning different ways to help myself and help others during that. A lot of my family members and exes started using drugs at that time, and I needed to find a way to help them.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to be treated better than anybody else could be treated. So that's how I treat every patient that comes through the door.
Yeah, so, you know, that's one of the things that we say, like our mission statement here at Sobriety Society is to help everyone on the planet that's been affected by drug addiction to overcome their challenges and help others find their path and their passion to recovery and helping others. And the thing with that is you were affected by addiction, not so much by being an individual, but having your loved ones being affected by it, which affected you, which got you into the field, right?
It did.
Yeah.
I saw that how people were just being treated as numbers and rolling through the treatment centers and not getting true help.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a difference.
And I might get really emotional on this call. I say this on most podcasts because people are dying. We're here to help. And also people are just having other life challenges. And Dr. Aimie, I know a little bit about your story. What got you into this field?
Very similar to what Jennifer has mentioned, where I realized what I saw was that people were not really getting the help that they needed. And so whether it was mental health or addictions, both of those, traditionally, it's been something where they go from doctor to doctor. They maybe do tests, maybe they just start medications, but it's just been Band-Aids rather than actually true help that has been able to change their life.
Right. Right. And it's so sad because there's so many people, even people in this field that that they have the Band-Aid. And it's even more sad for me when I can see it. And I'm like, you know, there's deeper issues here. And it's not just physical. Let's take care of the physical and then get into the mental. And so we deal with that here. And I hear that both, especially with the love. And I know your heart, and I know Jennifer, your heart and my heart, they're all in the same spot. It's like, this is really about helping people. I don't know why my microphone does that.
It really is, and it's really about changing the course of the rest of their life.
Right?
Because a person can become sober, but still be not feeling well, still struggling with whatever mood or behavioral problems. And so they're not really doing well, even though they're sober.
Mm.
And so when we're looking at, okay, how can we truly help people who have been affected by an addiction or substance use disorder, it really is identifying what led them to that in the first place, that we can help them feel better and be sober.
Right.
Right.
So when we, now can you guys hear that echo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're, is someone talking into like a, Dr. Aimie, are you talking into your webcam?
No, I've got my Yeti microphone.
Oh, you have a Yeti?
Yes.
Is it right by your speakers?
I don't think so. Like, it's right here in front of me.
Okay.
It's not echoing anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So I was holding my hand up because I'm going to edit that all out. Okay. So, now I got, my brain is going back to, okay. So you guys are in front of a lot of people, and you have great exposure. And I know that Dr. Aimie goes out and speaks, and she's very popular in the field, and she's one of the authorities on addiction recovery. And I know, Jennifer, that you just are really a welcoming spirit at the NAD treatment center. So a lot of people, when they first hear about the NAD treatment center, or how do you get in front of people so that they know about the NAD treatment center? Is it through referrals, or do you have a website, or what? How does that all work?
We do get them from referrals and through the website, and then also off Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all 9 yards. So
Right.
We're looking at everything to reach the right public for us and what makes it work for them.
Right.
So we do have a website, and it's nadtreatmentcenter.com. And
Okay.
that's the same as our Facebook and our Twitter and even our LinkedIn.
So we can go to almost any, so the brand is NAD Treatment Center. So if you go to twitter.com/NAD Treatment Center, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that, we'll be able to find you. And we're definitely going to have that on our webpage. And we're also going to do that at the end of the podcast. But once someone comes in, like, I guess the first thing they do would be to make a phone call, maybe. So once they call, do you have certain questions that you ask them, or do you just say, hey, come on in?
It's very different for every person that's calling in.
Okay.
So it's not just come in whenever you choose to, because we want to make sure that we tailor their treatment plan for them. So we go through an assessment, and it changes per person, whether they're coming in for addiction, whether they're coming in for mental health, Lyme disease, anything like that. We're customing it to them.
Okay.
So it looks like finding out even how their gut issues are going, how their mental health is, what they've been diagnosed with before, or if this is their first time. And a lot of times on the phone call, I'll ask people, are they ready to come in? And if they're not quite ready, then I ask them to do journaling. Write down each day of what's happening for them, so then they can see it in writing, and then it becomes true to them.
Now, do you send them any type of format to help them with journaling?
I just talk with them over the phone with it. I want them to write down their good points during the day, their bad points, what they struggled with, what they enjoyed, just so that they can have like the pros and cons of their life.
Right. And you know what's really important about this, and what's great, and what I really like about that the most, is there's something that happens with the brain from the heart, from the brain to the hand, to the pen, to the heart. And I don't know what that is, but I know that it works. And I also know that Dr. Aimie has the next level of taking that to a more calming, peaceful, and wonderful life. But I want to get back into when they first meet you. So if they don't come on board, then you ask them to start journaling, and then maybe you follow up with them a little bit, see how that's all going. And then when they do end up coming in and converting into a patient or a client, then what's the process when they first come in?
When they first come in, we send them through a tour of the program. So I'll take them through each room, show them the treatment room, get to know them. If they like coffee or tea, give them some coffee or tea. Just kind of getting more personal with them so that they feel comfortable with all of us and meeting the team and feeling at home.
Yeah.
And then that way we can really get into, especially with Aimie, more of the functional medicine, more of the detox, looking at the whole body so that they're centered before they leave.
So is that like the very first day they're introduced to the staff, and then they're they get some crumpets, right? I'm just being silly.
Coffee and tea, Sean.
Coffee and tea.
Coffee and tea.
and then they get and then like I've been there. It's a real home environment. It's nothing like I've been to some centers and some sober living homes where you're like, wow, this is just scary in here. I just want to leave. And it's very welcoming. And I've met your staff and they're wonderful people and they all really care. Now, one of the things is on their first day, do they meet all the staff or do they meet part of the staff, or how does that work?
They usually meet the nurse that's on that day, and then they'll always meet myself and Glenda. And then also they'll either FaceTime with Aimie, or if they come in on Fridays, they'll see her in person.
Right.
So depending on their case, if it's more of a complicated case, I want them to start on Friday so they get the face-to-face with Aimie.
Yeah, and I want to get more detailed into that, because that's really where a lot of the science of the healing takes place. And again, I'm not a doctor or a scientist or anything, but I do believe in healing through medicine, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that in a moment. So once they, meet everybody and they have their coffee or tea and they're relaxing, then what's the next step?
We make sure that all of their consents and paperwork is signed, and then we hook them up. We try to get them hooked up as soon as possible so that we can help them start feeling better as soon as possible.
Okay, and so what does hook them up mean?
Putting them onto the IV.
Okay.
Because a lot of our clients with addiction are coming in either in withdrawals or they're going to be starting soon. And so we want to get them on the IV pump as soon as possible so that can mitigate some of the withdrawal symptoms. Right.
And the reason I say that is our listeners, they're not really going to understand. They don't know about the different products and services that you provide. So this is an intravenous process where there's actually a puncture to the skin with a needle, and then they would start receiving the NAD. And I want to talk a little bit about the NAD in a moment. But once they're hooked up, is that their very first day you connect them with the
yes,
with the medicine? Can I call it medicine?
It's a vitamin.
A vitamin. Oh, great. Well, there you go. So then
we do everything more natural.
Yeah. So it's a natural vitamin.
Yes.
That your body produces.
Yes.
Yes.
So is it true that when you're sleeping, you're losing NAD, and when you're awake, you're making NAD?
That is the reverse.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
NAD is used in the body to make ATP, which is your currency for energy, like your money for energy.
Oh. So I'm creating NAD in my body right now, just sitting here in this chair?
I'm not sure it's so helpful to think of creating NAD as much as what the NAD is helping create.
Oh, well, there you go. This is getting even more interesting. You know, that is said so simply. And I've read a little bit about NAD, and they come out with all these like images of like atoms and neutrons, and then these long scientific words that end with iocide or myocide or tetracide. And just to say that what you just said was a lot more simpler for someone like me that doesn't really understand science, that it's not that I'm creating NAD, it's what the NAD is creating in me.
Yes.
Wow, that is great. And that's really helpful for our audience, and actually for the people that will be coming in, that just, you know, they're just really simply, they just want to, their loved one or themselves to get healed and to not go through the pain of withdrawals. I have what's called hardwood floor detox, which means I was on a hardwood floor, shaking, rocking, and rolling, right? But this is a different process, and I've seen and I've heard that it's a lot more. There's not if there's no pain, there's very little pain, and then it takes a few days. So when you hook someone up, how long are they connected to the IV on their very first day?
Usually about 6 to 7 hours.
Oh, nice. So are they laying down, or are they sitting down, or are they walking around?
They can walk around. They can go into our treatment room, which is full of fun stuff, or they can sit in their room, which consists of 2 recliners, a big screen TV, a mini fridge, so they can bring snacks. We've tried to create it as a little living room for them, so they can be as comfortable as possible.
So what does fun stuff mean? Because people listening to this, people are going to be listening to this right now, and their question is, why the NAD treatment center? And the number one reason is because of the love you receive, and it's authentic, and it's very welcoming, and it's a peaceful spirit within the NAD treatment center. The second thing is you get help immediately, and you get connected immediately. You begin to detox immediately. And if you need to talk with Dr. Aimie, she's available to talk with you. And it's best on Fridays, but she's available to talk with you anytime, which is very important to answer any questions. Also, you'll be connected, and you'll be in a living room atmosphere, a very homey atmosphere. And then there's fun stuff. So what is some of the fun stuff that they can do?
The fun stuff consists of, especially when you're detoxing, using the infrared sauna to help get it out of you, but also help repair the cells. We've got the hyperbaric chamber. It's a soft shell, so you can go in there with your IV. We've got the beamer and the biomat, all of these things that are going to help get your cells moving and help repair the mitochondrial.
Okay.
And
so
then we've even got a Juve light that helps with skin collagen.
Okay, so those are 4 big words. I don't know what collagen is, hyperbolic, or the other 2 things. So in layman's terms, what's the first thing that they can do? It was an infrared something.
Sauna.
Okay,
infrared
so what is a sauna?
Well, you sit in, it's a little gray thing that you sit in, and it's putting out infrared lights, but it's also heating up, so you're sweating out some of the toxins.
Oh, nice.
And the infrared lights are helping your cells.
So is it a box, and your head sticks out the top, and then you're getting an infrared light, and you kind of sweat out the detox, part of the detox process?
It is.
Oh.
That is exactly what it's like.
Awesome. So bring my surf trunks.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then what was the second thing? There's something called hyperbolic.
Hyperbaric is the oxygen tank. So it's pressurized oxygen to stress out your cells so that it gets them moving faster. It also pressurizes them so that the mitochondrial gets active and the NAD can go in.
Okay. Is it a mask that you put on?
Nope. It's a full body. It kind of looks like the Mork and Mindy egg that comes down.
Oh,
okay. You sit fully in there.
Oh, sweet. So you can say nano. So you get in this thing, and we'd love to have a video on this, associated. And I'm sure there are videos on this that at the end of the podcast, we'll send some links to the NAD treatment center and have some information on that. And then what were the 2 other things? So we have the sauna the egg, and then what were the other two things?
The beamer really helps open up your cells. So in the morning, we do a positive charge to get your cells moving. It also helps repair the body, like if you've had any torn ligaments, if you have sore pains, anything like that. So it's helping everything get moving.
So
and then at night, we do
so what is it? Is it
it's a mat that you lay down on.
Oh, it's a mat that I lay down on.
A little gray mat.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. And it's sending the positive
wearing
charge.
the IV the whole time I'm doing all of these.
Yep. Everything in the fun room you can wear or you can use while you're on the IV.
Okay, great. And then the last thing was, so we have the sauna, the infrared sauna, we have the egg, and then we have the mat. And then what was the fourth thing?
We have another biomat.
Oh, okay.
It has some gem cells in it, and it helps a lot with if you have anxiety. So you can turn it on a little bit like a heating pad, so it makes you feel all comfy, but it's helping your body relax.
Okay. And then there's something called the bridge.
The bridge device is amazing to use, and I always recommend it if you feel like you're going through hard withdrawals, especially with opiates. You wear it for 5 days consistently. So it goes on behind your ear, and it's sending electrodes into your pain receptors. So you're not feeling that hard withdrawal where you just are feeling like you're going to die.
Okay, now I get that. So it's something like a headset. I put it behind my ear, and it relieves the pain when I'm going through withdrawals. I think anyone addicted to opiates that has tried to detox on their own can get that. Hey, I'm going to put this thing on. It's going to ease the pain of withdrawals. That just makes me want to sign up right there. Matter of fact, I might want to just sign up, even though I've been in recovery for a few decades. I want to go through some of this stuff. It sounds like it's a great feeling. So, okay, so then they go through this, and then Dr. Aimie, where do you step in through these processes? Is there any time that that you're there for a specific moment of every process, or are you available just to talk, or how does that all work?
Sure. So going over their history is going to be where I really come in and helping design the treatment plan for them. So if they're coming in just for a substance use, then we have protocols for that, a 10-day or a 15-day, depending on what all and how much they've been using. But then if they have autoimmune conditions, or have been struggling with chronic fatigue or depression, anxiety, mood stuff, all of that needs to be teased out for us to know how much NAD, how much to start with, and design their treatment plan. We also do use a number of other supplemental therapies in addition to the IV NAD. So usually we are also giving IV glutathione, vitamin C, magnesium, a number of supplements to help the whole process for whatever it is that they're coming in for.
Yeah, that's nice. So you said a few things there that, like anxiety, depression, different types of, so there's different personalities that come in, and you're the one that actually, and I don't want to use the word diagnose, okay? I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but you're the one that actually assesses the client, and then you make the educational, professional decision on which vitamins they receive and which type of process they receive going throughout the center.
Right. And I agree with you that a diagnosis is probably not as helpful, because they usually have had lots of diagnoses, right? Where has that gotten them? Maybe just more medications. And so what we really are looking for is that root cause, the different patterns that we might see in all of their symptoms that they've been having, and looking for those patterns that suggest a certain imbalance, a specific biochemical imbalance, or maybe an exposure to Lyme, to mold, and what are the things that we should test while they are there to really identify the root cause of their symptoms.
Yeah, and I like that, because again, I was diagnosed at 7 years old, and they're like, this kid has issues. And I was like, I got the whole subscription, Mom. But like everybody, and it was really simple. What was wrong with me was that I'm probably have addictive, tendencies, but also there was an underlying trauma that I had gone through that no one ever, assessed. I was always diagnosed with something.
Right.
And then they wanted to put a Band-Aid over it. Here, take this pill, which I think I took pills for like 3 weeks one time when I was 19. But they always wanted to Band-Aid what was wrong. But what you actually do is you get down to the core of the problem, what's really going on, whatever the trauma you're attached to, you go into that. And we're going to have another podcast on all of that. But you kind of discover that through this process, right?
Exactly, because what we have found is that when a person develops an addiction, it was in response to trying to solve their own problem.
Okay.
And so the primary problem then is not the addiction. That was their solution to the real problem.
Right.
And so that's where we go back to this idea of, yeah, we can get you sober, we can detox you, but then we've left you with your problem and without your coping mechanism for your problem. And so it really doesn't benefit you if we don't also then go that extra step and find out what the initial problem was that you were trying to help yourself feel better with the addiction. And sometimes that's trauma, sometimes that's a biochemical imbalance, sometimes that's both. Usually it's both, right? Because by this time they've accumulated a lot of different traumas in their lifetime.
Right. And so then do you have a program once they leave the NAD treatment center that will help them with that, right?
We can definitely do continued trauma work with them once they leave.
Okay.
And a lot of the testing that we do, sometimes they do that while they're at the clinic, and sometimes we have them do it after they get off the NAD and are back at a baseline, and then we'll do some of the biochemical testing. Okay,
great. So I kind of want to stay with that, for another podcast, but
Sure.
Back to the NAD treatment center and the detox process. This is so cool, man. I'm learning so much. And you guys thank you for making it simple, especially for the listeners, because if we say these big words, we kind of get lost. So then you also have some products. So once they go, so Jennifer, how long is the whole process of the detox? Is it a 28-day program, or is it 1 week or 3 days? How does that all work?
It can range anywhere from 6 days to 15 days.
Oh, okay. So it's simple, it's fast, and I would consider that fast, right?
Yeah. It's a lot better than the rapid detoxes, but it's similar. Like you're not spending 2 months trying to detox.
Right.
And what it really helps with is the pause after the post-withdrawals, because NAD really helps with depression, which all of you feel when you're detoxing. And I've gone through it. Everybody's gone through it. And this just helps you get happy, makes you feel more solid. And
so now I'm not a heroin addict or a benzo or opiate. I was, I'm an 80s guy. So I was into the 80s, what they did back in the 80s. But I've helped a lot of heroin addicts, and I know it's painful. My detox was more psychological, right? But I also, when I detoxed from alcohol, that was painful. Like my whole body hurt bad, right? But not as bad as I hear from heroin. And from what I hear at the NAD treatment center, that the nurses are like, they were sold on NAD once they saw someone come in and they went through the NAD, they were hooked up and started receiving the NAD intravenously, and they saw the calm in the client immediately. They're like, this works, right? And now if you were to go online, there's doctors that are going to have these conversations about it. But I have a saying like God, and I don't mean to bring God into this, but I'm going to. God is like the wind and the leaves of the trees, right? you can't see the wind, but you could see the evidence. And so when you see the evidence of the NAD and the client calm, then that's kind of proof, right?
And that's
It
the
is.
experience of a lot of the people coming in.
Yeah.
They were expecting much worse withdrawals, and they're not.
Yeah.
And the first things that they notice actually is like their brain clarity coming back. Like they've told me that they feel like they're going back to their real selves again. They have their brain back.
Right. They're going back to that little kid on the swing.
Right.
That they're like, you know, I'm whole and complete. And like, I haven't felt like this in a long time. And just in a few short moments or a few short days, you have a physiological shift.
Right.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Which then gives them a lot of hope for moving forward in their life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's really important, because I've seen people that they're just like, my friend's daughter, you know, it took us years working with her to detox. And I wish we would have had this back then, had this information. I'm sure it existed, but you know, I'm not going to say where we were putting her in, but it was a religious camp, and they were just like, you're going to be healed by the Lord. And her mom would come pick her up and put her in a hotel, and she'd get some more drugs. So it was very frustrating, but having a facility like this and a technology like this is amazing. So then.
Well, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Like when you're going through a detox, and I've been in the industry for 20 years, when you're going through the standard detox, white knuckle, they give you a little bit of gabapentin, your body's still hurting. You're still fighting against yourself. You can't heal anything because all you're doing is wanting to fix it. And that's what NAD helps you fix. So that 3 days, like especially on heroin, you can stop for about 3 days, then you get the cravings again because your body's starting to like reject yourself and crave it. The NAD goes in there and it sticks to your cells, so it's helping you rebuild your GABA receptors and everything so that your body doesn't crave it. It especially works so well with alcohol that it's just replacing that.
Right.
And so you don't have to keep going through the roller coaster ride.
Now, what I'm about to say here is scientific, and I probably don't know what I'm talking about. But when you go through this, you go through a physiological and a biological shift. And in your brain, you actually, I don't know what a peptide is, but does it do something to a peptide, whatever a peptide is? Maybe Dr. Aimie can explain that, to where you're thinking differently.
So this is really where we see this combination of a person's psychology and biology and how much they interplay. And so much of the former approach to addictions was just, it's all psychology, just white knuckle it. And what we know now is that so much of it is biological. And so when we fix the biology, the psychology falls into place because, like you're talking about, it actually causes changes in the brain. A lot of those changes happen with the levels of the brain neurotransmitters. And some of it is just the rewiring, the repaired connection between the neurons and the brain cells. And interesting that you mentioned peptides. We have started to use peptides in addition with the IV NAD and have been getting some really good results with that too, Sean.
So is the peptides in this mixed in with the NAD, or is it two separate things?
They're two separate things.
Okay, so is it an injection?
Usually the peptide is an injection, yes.
Oh, is there other ways to take the peptide other than an injection?
Well, there's lots of different types of peptides.
Oh, okay.
And so yes, there are different ways to take peptides, including through like a capsule, just like you would a supplement.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's good to know. And the reason I'm asking is I kind of want to segue into, like, there's other ways of doing NAD. We're not saying for detox. We've talked about the detox process where you come in, you you meet the family, you meet the community, you have a living room experience, you can walk around, you'll be on it for a few hours and you'll relax. And what it does is it helps ease the depression, the anxiety, any type of, I don't want to say mood disorder, I don't want to go there, but I want to say that it's with ease and comfort that this process takes place. Okay, but then there's other, you have other products that we really don't talk about that much. You have patches and creams and nasal sprays. So where do those all fit in? Do those fit in as part of the detox process or as a aftercare for detox, or are they a completely separate thing?
Actually, both, Sean. So during the detox, we will often use a patch as well. And so a patch goes on a person's skin and stays on for usually about 8 to 10 hours. It gives them 250 milligrams of NAD over that time. And so what we find is that those people who are really having trouble sleeping, especially if they're having restless legs, kicking at night, then the patch and giving them the NAD overnight can really improve their sleep.
Right.
So it's not something that they will always get, but that can be a really helpful addition to the IV NAD that they're getting during the day.
And so when they put on the patch, it's kind of like you shave an area and then put it on a clean shaven area?
I mean, it would be like waxing if you put it on a hairy area, but usually people will put it like here on their forearm where they don't have hair. So it's not a big process that you need to shave an area.
Yeah.
Usually.
Well, because I quit smoking cigarettes over 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I used the patch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a gorilla, No, I'm not. But I, I think they said to shave your arm and then put the patch on. Right. But I never thought about putting it here. Okay, cool. So then, so you use and that patch would be used within the 6 to 12 days?
Yeah, that would be used during the detox.
Oh.
In addition to the IV that they're getting during the day.
Wow, this is just a wealth of information. And then, so then you have other types of products. What are those?
So in addition to the patches, we do have the nasal spray.
Right.
And so once they're completing the detox, we talk to them about their options. We talk about what might be the best way to continue getting some NAD over the next few weeks while they're kind of going through any post-acute withdrawal symptoms and need just that buffer zone as they transition back into their normal life.
And then do they have to wean off the NAD or can they just stop?
Right, they can stop, and they usually won't use it every day necessarily. It'll be something that they'll use once every other day and then once every 3 days, just depending on how they feel, what their energy level is like, how their mood is doing. Once they've been on the NAD, they start to get a sense of when they need more.
Okay.
At that point, it can be pretty self-directed.
Right. And so then what were you going to say, Jennifer?
Well, generally after the detox, we do send them home with 6 patches so that they can follow up. And that's part of their program. That comes free to them.
Oh, nice. And so then they get 6 patches. You said 6?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like 250 milligrams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
now,
you absorb about 250.
Now, one thing that I know about NAD, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there's different levels of NAD, and it's kind of like coffee, right? So when I go get coffee, there's like the $4 can and then the $20 can. And so you guys actually have the $20, you have the high end, like you have the most pure, the most natural, and the best quality NAD out there. Is that true?
Yes,
that is.
Because there's a little bit of chemistry here that I'll share.
Okay.
There's 2 forms of NAD, NAD+, which is what we use, and NADH. And so some people use NADH and they don't get the same results that we do with the NAD+, and they're having to use higher doses because it's not as effective. It's not as able to be used by the cells to make energy as the NAD+.
Right. And so then there's actually a different, I don't know, now I'm getting all weird, but there's a different atomic structure to NADH to NAD plus. Like,
Right. There's the addition of a hydrogen atom
okay.
on the NADH. And
All
so
right.
it already has that electron that it's needs to drop in order to make more energy.
I wanted to stay away from words like hydrogen and electron,
Sorry, Sean.
but I had to bring it up because, you know, I think our listeners can understand hydrogen and electron.
Sure.
And so what did the electron say to the hydrogen component? I'm just kidding. I was just saying that.
Some of our
When I usually, oh, sorry.
and they ask about, well, why are you using such low doses of NAD? I've been at another place where they used much higher doses. And that's where we have this conversation where all NAD is not the same NAD.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, if you're a parent or a loved one, you know, I use the coffee analogy, you know, but if you're a drug addict, all I have to say is, do you want the pure stuff or do you want the cut stuff? And a drug addict will go, oh, just give me the purity, you know? And that's what you're offering, is you're offering the purity, and you don't have to do as much because it's better. It's a better, faster vitamin to heal you at the appropriate rate. Now, here's the important part: at the appropriate rate for you as an individual. And Dr. Aimie and Jennifer are the two that get together and make sure that you're getting the appropriate amount. So there's not too much, there's not too little. It's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? You're like, and so, so cool. And so then, so there's the patch, and and what about the cream? I don't really understand what the cream is. Is it a face cream, like a mask, and then you peel it off, or?
Well, there's two different creams. So we have one in a lotion that you can use every day.
Oh, wow. Really? Like a suntan lotion?
Not a suntan lotion, just like your daily moisturizer.
Well, I'm a guy. Do I put it on my face?
You can put it on your face. It can go anywhere.
I can't put it on my face. I have a beard. But
then we also
how would
have
a guy with a beard put it on?
Put it on your hands, put it on your arms, put it on your legs. It's just like, you know, when you go to the store and you buy a bottle of lotion, it's the same thing. But it's got NAD in it.
I'm a guy. I don't understand going to the store or lotion. Just, you know, I'm like,
well,
barbed
your
wire
girlfriend
and
will
sand
understand.
and I'll eat it. Okay. Okay, cool. So then, and then there's two types of cream. So there's that type of cream. And then what's the other one?
The face paste. That is my favorite.
Okay.
Out of all of the lotions that we have, because us as women, we go through all of those chemicals that you want to make your face look younger, take off all the dead skin.
Yes.
This does it all in one bottle.
Yeah.
And it adds in NAD. And when you're adding in NAD, it helps your face plump up. It helps it look more younger. It's rejuvenating your face. So instead of spending like $300 on 50 different products, you have it all in one bottle.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because a lot of the listeners, okay, so this is kind of just an opinion of mine, but a lot of the listeners on this particular podcast are going to be female. And the reason being, and I say this all the time, is that men, you know, men will go, hey, I bet you I can get in that cage with you and kick your butt, right? And women will say, hey, why don't we go and have some cheese and crackers and have a nice, pleasant conversation? So women are more intuitive and more spiritually lifted, in my opinion. And a man will say to an addict, you need to cowboy up, pull up your bootstraps, and just get off the drugs. And a woman will say, we need to get you the appropriate, proper help that you need. Now, that being said, a woman is going to be calling the NAD treatment center and saying, you know, my son or my daughter or my spouse or my husband or my, you know, sibling needs help and I don't know what to do. I've been trying to help them for years. I'm at the end of my rope and, you know, they just stole my car or whatever. And I just really need help. I'm going through hard times. And then they're talking with the NAD treatment center. And then they find out, oh, by the way, I bet you if I ask 99% of women, do you wash your face? They're going to go, oh, I wash my face every day. And I bet you if I ask 99% of men, they'll be like, what? I'm supposed to wash something? Like, men don't get it, right? But you this cream or this paste that you're talking about, it's actually like an anti-aging type component, right? Is that what you're saying?
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's taken up because it's got the amino acids in it. So it's sloughing off all the dead skin, just like our face pills, our chemical pills that we do. This is a lot gentler on your skin, so you can actually use it every day or use it every other day, depending on what you want to do. It's taking off the dead skin and replenishing it with NAD.
And you're saying, because I know that this is a $1 billion industry, and a lot of the women like will spend a lot of money on creams and ointments and all this stuff. And they may be calling in or listening to this podcast right now going, I need to help for my loved one. But actually, I might just call them on my own just because I want to try this paste out.
Yeah. I mean, I was that person that spent so much money on all these different products.
Yeah.
To try to fix my face. And I got the NAD paste and I haven't ever changed from it.
Well, there you go. That's a whole other conversation we can have, but it's good that it came out on this podcast because I want the listeners to know, and I want people that are just exploring the NAD treatment center, that not only are you going to receive the attention that you need, and it's going to be authentic and it's going to be from the heart, but you also will be in a living room style, pleasant atmosphere that's fun. And again, anyone that knows me, you've heard my stupid little jokes in this podcast, but anyone that knows me is that my personal mission is there's a vast amount of fun about this all, but underneath there's a deadly earnestness. And the NAD treatment falls in that core value that I have is this is a life or death situation, but they're going to make it fun. They have an egg, they have a mat, they have a infrared box that you sit in, and then they had this other thing, couldn't remember what it was. But I mean, that just sounds fun, just to hang out, get on the NAD, detox, sit, and I can even watch movies if I wanted, right?
You can.
And do you guys have...
You can bring in your cell phone, your laptop, your iPad. It's your living room.
Oh, sweet. Is there a television in there that I can watch with other people?
There is.
Oh, sweet.
Sometimes,
so it's like a little movie night.
Yeah. Sometimes at graduation, if we have a big group, we'll bring in popcorn and watch movies in the treatment room.
Well, I want to eat popcorn.
You should come hang out with us, Sean.
I will.
Get some treatment.
I'll take you up on that. I'm down there every once in a while, Fridays and Saturdays.
Good.
So, okay, great. Well, this has been a great podcast. So let's just wrap it up a little bit. With at the end of the whole experience, what is the outro, right? So when they're done with the whole process, then what is the process for the exit?
It depends on the individual.
Very much so. So we go over what their goals are. We've come up with a plan for them. A lot of that does involve counseling, therapy, so addressing the psychological side effect. And then we're looking at also what supplements, what medications, if they need any. And then, of course, getting them set up with the patches so that they, when they're walking out, when they're leaving, they feel comfortable knowing that they have a plan.
Yeah. And then that plan, so I kind of want to wrap it up like this, because there's this full cycle here, and there's a little bit of ninja going on that I want to bring that ninja out and bring it to the forefront. So when someone comes in, if they're still on the fence, Jennifer is going to ask them to do some journaling, right?
Right.
And so what we can do is create a little NAD treatment workbook that they can email and print out, and it will have these like journaling questions that they can answer just to make it more simple and stay at the forefront. So top of mind type stuff there. And then when they do choose to come in, not only are they going to be welcomed by all the nurses and all the staff, and they're going to get, some tea or coffee, and they'll also be in the living room style, and they'll get connected and hooked up to the NAD intravenous process. But then they'll also be talking with Dr. Aimie. Now, this is why this is so important, and this is the ninja part, is she's going to assess what's really going on. What is really the core issue to why you ended up in the NAD treatment center in the first place? Because it wasn't the opiates, it wasn't the drugs, and it wasn't the alcohol. And in all reality, it wasn't really, any one thing that brought you in there. But she's going to assess that during the process so that when you're at the exit now, at the end, you're going to have available to you a way of living that really works. And that you can just live this real powerful, wonderful, amazing life through the assessment that Dr. Aimie takes you through. So I highly recommend anyone listening to this we're going to go over how to connect with Dr. Aimie and Jennifer at the NAD Treatment Center. And so what are some of the ways they could connect with you?
Off of our phone calls, emails, whatever's easiest for them.
Okay.
We want to make it comfortable because a lot of times the first call is the hardest call.
Right.
So whatever they feel comfortable with, I'll be there.
Okay. So we have a few websites. So there's the nadtreatmentcenter.com. So you could either go to nadtreatmentcenter.com, or you could just Google NAD Treatment Center and it'll come right to the top of Google. Or you could call Jennifer at 844-623-7587. That phone number is also on the website. And another way you can connect with her, if you're a little leery right now and you just kind of want to get some information, you can email admissions@nadtreatmentcenter.com. That will go right to Jennifer and she'll just reply to you. That might be a little bit more easier. Or you can go on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and just search NAD Treatment Center, and that will bubble up to the top of all the social media. And we would love to, we're not here for your money. We're here to save your life, because the life that you're trying to save, whether it's your own or your loved ones, it's just not a life worth saving. It's a life worth fighting for. And Dr. Aimie and Jennifer are fighting for the life for your life, for your loved one's life, so that you can live more powerfully, have a more calm and peaceful time throughout the rest of your life, so you can be with the people you love, sleep at night, and have peace of mind. So I want to thank you, Dr. Aimie and Jennifer, for showing up to the Sobriety Society podcast. This is really wonderful.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay.
And one thing that I would like to add on is, whether you're calling in and you're not for sure if this is the right treatment for you, depending on what's going on for you, we'll find you the right treatment.
Yes.
Because it's not one size fits all. That's
very important, because what Jennifer does, and again, she's been doing this for over 20 years. I think you started when you were like 5, right?
I wish.
Yeah. So the thing is, Jennifer is so experienced and so connected that, again, just give her a call at 844-623-7587. And if it's not a fit, we will definitely get you the help you need. She knows a lot of people throughout the nation that can get you the help you need, whether it's locally in San Diego or remotely in your immediate area, we're here to help. We're here to make a difference. And we're really here to help you, to love you until you can love yourself. I took that from another program, but we really do care. It's really a heartfelt thing, and we really want to make a difference. Also, if you want to connect with Dr. Aimie, you can go to Dr. Aimie, and her name is spelled AIMIE. So it's DRAIMIE.com, draimie.com. You can connect with her there, but make sure you go to the NADtreatmentcenter.com or call 844-623-7587. Make the call now. We're here to make a difference. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aimie.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks for joining in on another episode of Sobriety Society, and your journey has only just begun. Head to sobrietysociety.org and apply to be a speaker on a future episode of the show, so your success can influence others to develop their business to not only prosper and grow, but to save more lives. We look forward to having you on the next episode of Sobriety Society, and we are sure to meet on the long road of recovery. Until then, take care, love others, and peace be still.